Hello friends, in this video I'm going to discuss the concept of absolute pseudo-primes or comical numbers. First, the definition. The composite numbers n that are pseudo-primes to every base a. We have discussed the concept of pseudo-primes in last video. A composite number is a pseudo-prime to base a if this congruence holds. A to the power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo n. This is the definition of pseudo prime. Okay, a composite number is pseudo prime to base a if this congruence holds. Now here in this absolute pseudo primes, we have the composite numbers that are pseudo primes to every base a where GCD of a with n is 1. This is the difference between pseudo primes and absolute pseudo primes. Okay, in pseudo primes we are discussing about pseudo prime to a base a. If this condition holds, this congruence holds, then we say the number composite number n is pseudo prime to base a. And if it holds for every base a where GCD of a and n is 1, then in that case that n is called the absolute pseudo prime or comical numbers. Means n is absolute pseudo prime. If we want to show any number is absolute pseudo prime, then we need to show that first n is composite. Okay, first we will show n is composite. Second, we will show a to the power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo n for all integers a with GCD of a and n is 1. Okay, if for every integers with GCD with n is 1, then this congruence holds. Then in that case n is called the absolute pseudo prime or comical numbers. Okay, this is the difference between absolute pseudo prime and pseudo primes. Okay, clear? Now, for example, now we will show that the number 561 is an absolute pseudo prime. Now we will show this. Okay. Now for this, first is 561 is equal to 3 into 11 into 17. That means it is a composite number. Clear? It is composite. First part proved. Secondly, we now want to show a to the power n minus 1, and here is 561. A to the power 560 is congruent to 1 modulo 561 for all integers a with where GCD of a and n is 1. Okay, means for every integer a where GCD of a and n is 1, we are now going to show this congruence holds. Clear? Then in that case we will say 561 is an absolute pseudo prime. Clear? Now 561 and its factor is 3 into 11 into 17. Okay, and GCD of a and 561 is equal to 1. Okay, now this will imply, this GCD will imply 3 does not divides a. Okay, since if it does, since otherwise, that is if 3 divides a, then a can be written as 3 into k for some integer k belonging to z, and also 561 is 3 into 11 into 17, and 3 is a common factor of a and 561. This will imply GCD of a and 561 is not equal to 1, which is a contradiction to this, our assumption. Okay, therefore 3 does not divide A, and this will imply 3 and A, GCD of 3 and A or A and 3 is 1. Similarly, GCD of A and 11 and A and 17 is also 1. Okay, now by Fermat's theorem, this will imply a to the power 3 minus 1, that is 2, is congruent to 1 modulo 3. This will imply a to the power 11 minus 1, that is 10, is congruent to 1 modulo 11. And a to the power 16, 17 minus 1, is congruent to 1 modulo 17. Okay. Now, first we consider the first congruence. A square is congruent to 1 modulo 3. This will imply, by using the properties of congruences, e to the power 2 power 280 is congruent to 1 power 280 is 1 only, 1 modulo 3. Okay, 1 modulo 3, and that is, this is a to the power 560 is congruent to 1 modulo 3. Mark this as 1. Next, we consider second congruence. A power 10 is congruent to 1 modulo 11. This will imply a power 10 taking 56 power both sides, congruent to 1 power 56 1 only, modulo 11, that is a power 560 is congruent to 1 modulo 11. Mark this as 2. Clear? Same way, now we consider the third. Consider a power 16 is congruent to 1 modulo 17. And taking 35 power both sides, we get 1 modulo 17, that is a power 560 is congruent to 1 modulo 17. Clear? Mark this as 3. Okay. Now 1 will imply 3 divides a power 560 minus 1. 2 will imply 11 divides a power 560 minus 1. And this third will imply 17 divides a power 560 minus 1. Okay. Now, from 1 we get 3 divides a power 560 minus 1. From 2 we get 11 divides a power 560 minus 1. And from 3 we get 17 divides a power 560 minus 1. Clear? Okay. Now 3 divides, 11 divides and 17. And 3, 11 and 17 are distinct primes. And they are relatively prime to each other. Okay. Therefore, since 3, 11 and 17 are relatively prime to each other, 3 into 11 into 17, that is 561, will divide a power 560 minus 1. And this by definition will give a power 560 is congruent to 1 modulo 561. Okay, this by definition. Clear? Where GCD of 561 and A is 1. This is 561 minus 1. Okay, and this by definition will imply 561 is an absolute pseudo prime. Okay, hence proved. Clear? Okay. Clear? Okay. Now we come to next, square free integers. Next we come to square free integer. An integer n is square free if in the prime factorization of n no prime factor occurs with an exponent larger than 1. Means all the prime factors in that factorizations occurs once. Okay. That is, its prime factorization has exactly one factor for each prime that appears in it. Then in that case, the integer is said to be square free integer. For example, if I consider the number 10, then its prime factorization is 2 into 5. Since here 2 and 5 has power 1 exponent 1. Okay, that is neither 2 nor 5 occurs more than once. That means it is a square free number. Okay, square free integer. Same way, if I consider the number 18, then its prime factorization is 2 into 3 into 3. That is 2 into 3 square. Now here 3 is occurring twice, or the exponent of 3 is more than 1. Exponent is larger than 1. If no prime factor occurs with an exponent larger than 1, here we have 2. That means it is not square free. Okay. This is the definition of square free integer. Clear? Now we have very important result regarding absolute pseudo primes. The result is any absolute pseudo prime is square free. Very important result. Very important property of absolute pseudo prime. Any absolute pseudo prime is square free. Means if we do the prime factorization of that number, then all the primes occurring in that factorization will have exponent 1, or none of the primes will occur more than once. Okay, any absolute pseudo prime is square free. Clear? Now, in order to prove this, we can also prove counterpositive statement of this. If n is non-square free number, then n is not a comical number or absolute zero prime. Means if n is given to be non-square free number, then n is not absolute zero prime. Okay. Then this will automatically imply absolute zero prime is square free. If we are able to prove non-square implies not absolute zero prime. Okay, in order to have this result, we are now going to prove this. Clear? Now here n is non-square free number. Let us prove this. Given n is a non-square free number. Non-square free number. Okay. That means in the prime factorization, there exists at least one prime with exponent more than 1. Okay. Let prime p divides n more than once. More than once. Then we can write n is equal to p to the power k n dash, where k is greater than or equal to 2 and GCD of p and n dash is 1. Okay. Okay. Now claim 1, we will first prove 1 plus p n dash to the power n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo p square. Clear? We will now first prove this. Clear? Now here we are going to use the binomial theorem. Okay. Now 1 plus p n dash power n minus 1 on applying the binomial theorem can be expanded in the form 1 plus n minus 1 c1 p n dash plus n minus 1 c2 p n dash square and up to n minus 1 c n minus 1 p n dash power n minus 1. Okay, now here we can see after first and second term, first two terms, all other terms have a factor p square. Here we have p square, same way all other factors have p square as one of the factor. All terms except first two terms, all other terms have p square as one of the factor. Okay, so I can write like this. 1 plus, on solving this combination, this is n minus 1 p n dash, and here I can replace this equality by congruence and write here modulo p square. I can write like this. Since after first two terms, all other terms has a p square as one of the factors. So I can write like this. I can replace this equality by congruent sign and I can write like this. Clear? By binomial theorem. Clear? Now here again I will write this. Now again I will write this congruence. This is 1 plus p n dash power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 plus n minus 1 p n dash modulo p square. Clear? Okay. Now if I consider this 1 plus n minus 1 p n dash, this is 1 plus n p n dash minus p n dash. Okay, now consider this factor, this term, sorry. Consider this term. Now n is equal to p to the power k n dash, where k is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, means p square divides n. So here, since p square divides n, this term, since p square divides n, np n dash, this term has a factor, I can say, has a term p square, has a term p square. Okay, since p square divides n, this term has p square as one of the factor, has a term or factor p square, I can say this. Therefore, on taking modulo p square, we can also remove this term here. Okay, therefore 1 plus n minus 1 p n dash is congruent to 1 minus p n dash modulo p square, since we are taking modulo p square. Okay, and this term has a p square. On dividing by p square, we can remove this term. Okay, now therefore this is written as 1 plus p n dash power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 minus p n dash modulo p square. Clear? So we can write like this. Okay, now we will consider this. Okay, now 1 minus p n dash is not congruent to 1 modulo p square. Now this is not congruent to 1 modulo p square, since otherwise if this congruence holds, then by definition p square will divide 1 minus p n dash minus 1. That is, p square divides minus p n dash, or we can say p divides minus n dash, which is contradiction, since GCD of n dash and p is 1. Okay, therefore we have this. Okay, we are arriving at a contradiction. Therefore, I can say 1 minus p n dash is not congruent to 1 modulo p square, and using this we get 1 plus p n dash power n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo p square. I can write like this. Clear? Hence proved. Our first claim is proved. 1 plus p n dash power n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo p square. Mark this as 1. Okay. Now claim 2. Now we are going to prove n is not an absolute zero prime. This is our next claim. Okay. Now claim 2. N is not an absolute zero prime. N is not an absolute zero prime. We are now going to prove this. Clear? Now let A is equal to 1 plus p n dash. Then from 1, then on replacing 1 plus p n dash by A, then from 1 we get A to the power n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo p square, and this will imply A to the power n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo n. Okay, since if it does, by definition, n will divide an minus 1 and p square divides n, and n divides an minus 1 will imply p square divides a to the power n minus 1, which is a contradiction. So we are here. Okay. Okay. A n minus 1 is not congruent to 1 modulo n. Clear? Where GCD of A and n is 1. Therefore, by definition, n is not an absolute zero prime. Clear? Means here n is non-square free number. Then we have proved if n is non-square free number, then n is not an absolute zero prime. Hence the theorem. Hence proved. Clear? Okay. Now we come to next theorem. Let n be a composite square free integer. Say n is equal to p1, p2, pr, where pi's are distinct primes, and if pi minus 1 divides n minus 1 for I is equal to 1, 2, r, then n is an absolute zero prime. Okay. Now we are going to prove this theorem now. Here we have two conditions. N is composite square free integer. Okay. First thing is n is composite square free integer. That is, if n is equal to, n can be written as n is equal to p1, p2, pr, means here it is square free. Exponent of each of the primes is 1 only. It is square free integer, composite square free integer. And second is pi minus 1 divides n minus 1 for every I 1, 2, r, then n is an absolute zero prime. Clear? Let us prove this theorem. Proof. Let A be an integer satisfying A and n. GCD of A and n is 1. To prove A to the power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo n. That is, A to the power n is congruent to A here, A modulo n. Clear? We are now going to prove this. First is n should be composite, that is given to us. And second, for every integer a with GCD where GCD of A and N is 1, then this congruence should holds. This congruence is true. Then only we say the integer N is a absolute zero prime. Clear? Okay. Now we are going to prove this. Now it is given that N is equal to P1, P2 up to PR. This will imply P1 does not divide A. Since otherwise if P1 divides A, then A can be written as P1 into K, where K is an integer, and also N is equal to P1, P2, PR. Then P1 is a common factor of A and N. Then we can say GCD of A and N is not 1, which is a contradiction to this. Therefore, P1 does not divide A. Similarly, P2 does not divide A, P3 does not divide A, and PR does not divide A. Okay, that is GCD of A and PI is 1 for each I. 1 to R. Clear? Now, therefore, by Fermat's theorem, A to the power Pi minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo Pi. Okay. And this by definition implies Pi divides A to the power Pi minus 1 minus 1. Mark this as 1. Also by given condition, it is given to us by given condition Pi minus 1 divides N minus 1. Mark this as 2. Okay. Now from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2, we have Pi divides A power N minus 1 minus 1. Okay. From 1 and 2, Pi divides A to the power N minus 1 minus 1. First, let us prove this step. How we are able to write this using 1 and 2. Let us first understand this proof. Okay. Now here, from 1, first from 2 is Pi minus 1 divides N minus 1. I can write N minus 1 is equal to Pi minus 1 into K for any integer K. And from 1 is Pi divides A to the power Pi minus 1 minus 1. I can write this minus 1 is equal to Pi into Z for some Z belonging to Z. Clear? I can write like this. Okay. This means A to the power Pi minus 1 is equal to 1 plus Pi Z. I can write like this. Taking K power both sides, I can write this 1 plus Pi Z power K. Now here I am going to apply binomial theorem. This is 1 plus KC1 Pi into Z plus KC2 Pi into Z square up to KCK Piz power K. Now except this first term, all the other terms, K minus 1 terms, has Pi as one of the factor. So I can write this like 1 plus Pi into N. I can write like this, taking Pi common. Clear? Now this left hand side is equal to, using this, Pi minus 1 into K is nothing but N minus 1. So I can write like this, A to the power Pi minus 1 into K is nothing but N minus 1. I can write like this, and this is equal to 1 plus Pi N. So from here, I can write Pi divides A to the power N minus 1 minus 1. A to the power N minus 1 minus 1 is a multiple of Pi. Clear? So using 1 and 2, I can write Pi divides A N minus 1 minus 1. Clear? Okay. Now from this, by definition of congruences, this is a n minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo pi. Okay. And this implies a to the power n is congruent to a modulo pi. That is, pi divides a n minus a for all a and I from 1 to r. Clear? Up to here? Clear? Now, since each pi divides a n minus a, okay, and they are relatively prime, okay, since now pi divides a n minus a and I is equal to 1 to r for all a. Now using the result, if a divides c, b divides c with GCD of a and b is 1, we have ab divides c. Using this result, we have P1 P2 into PR divides a n minus a. Since PIs are P1 P2 PR are distinct primes, so I can use this result and will get this P1 into PR, P1 P2 up to PR divides a n minus a. That is, this is nothing but n divides a n minus a, and this will imply a n is congruent to a modulo n. This will imply n is an absolute pseudo prime by definition. Clear? Hence proved, hence the result. Clear? Okay. Now we will check if the number 561 satisfies the conditions of this theorem. We know 561 is an absolute pseudo prime. We have shown this here using the definition of absolute pseudo prime. Now we will check here. Okay, we will check here. Clear? First, 561 is 3 into 11 into 17. Means it is a product of distinct primes. It is a composite number and it is square free also. Exponent of each of the prime is 1. Therefore, it is composite and square free number. First part is proved. First condition is proved. Now next part. First is n is composite and square free number. First condition holds. N is composite and square free number. Okay. Square free number. Now in the second part, to show pi minus 1 divides n minus 1 for I is equal to 1, 2 and 3. Clear? Now we are going to check this if this holds or not. Now P1 is 3, P2 is 11 and P3 is 17. So for P1 minus 1 divides n minus 1. P1 minus 1 is 2. 2 divides 560. Yes. Since 560 is 2 into 280. Okay. Clear? For P2 minus 1 divides n minus 1. That is, P2 minus 1 is 10. 10 divides 560. Yes. Since 560 is equal to 10 into 56 wholes. Now for P3 minus 1 divides n minus 1. P3 minus 1 is 16 divides 560. Since 560 is equal to 16 into 35. This is also true. Yes. Means Pi minus 1 divides n minus 1 for I is equal to 1, 2 and 3. And second condition also holds. That means by using this result, 561 is an absolute pseudo prime. And we have already shown this is an absolute pseudo prime using the definition. Okay. Hence, proved using this theorem also. Okay, clear? So to check any number is absolute pseudo prime or not, we can easily apply this theorem to check. Okay, clear? Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any queries or any suggestions, please write to me in comment box. Thank you.